We are live. So I'm Arm Layton. He's Tanner Bibee, and he is very good at pitching, and he is nice enough to break down not only his big league debut, but also a couple really impressive AAA outings that were so impressive they got you to the big leagues very quickly. We just finished recording the Just Baseball Show segment that is going to be out on Friday. So definitely look forward to you guys checking out that episode. But Tanner, thank you again, man, for hopping on and staying with me a little extra and talking pitching, because there's some awesome clips already in this young season to break down from what you've already done on the mound.
Yeah, of course, man. I'm excited.
So last time we tried this, we had a little bit of technical difficulties. I've figured it all out now, so we're going to have it nice and smooth this time, hopefully. But what I did pull is just a couple stretches that were most impressive to me. I wanted to start with the big league debut, because what's better than that? I didn't need you to break down like plunking Charlie Blackmon in the beginning of your first inning, but I do want to set the scene here, because this is the second inning of work where you start to really settle in. But that first inning we talked about on the Just Baseball Show, we don't have to go too deep into it, but what you did say is like once you plunked Blackmon, you settled in a little bit.
Yeah,
that seems counterintuitive. I'd plunk somebody with 99 and say, "Oh shit, it's falling apart here." Like, how did that help you settle in? And then, can you lead us into where you're at now as you make the first pitch of the second inning? Like, what was the dugout like? And then how'd you come back out here with so much poise and be so locked in?
I think just getting that first zero on the board and getting that first batter off the board, I think was just, did so many great things for my mental. I think just knowing that I could be able to do it and throw a zero in the major leagues. Watching Major League Baseball since I was 5 years old, just knowing that, okay, I did it once, I can do it plenty of times again now.
Yeah, and almost like that you weren't at your best in that first inning and you still put up a big league zero. Like, that's got to feel pretty good.
Yeah.
But that wasn't enough for you. You come into your second big league inning and let's just walk through it, because dude, this inning was so impressive. I assume, first pitch, you just want to throw a strike, obviously. Yeah. So don't have much to talk about there. Feel free to chime in whenever something stands out to you. That one just misses. Looks like you kind of wanted it. But that curveball you talked about earlier is like that pitch that you like to throw kind of earlier in counts to grab some strikes. That one just misses. Were you thinking like, man, this big league zone's a little tighter?
I was like, after kind of like I wouldn't say like a rough first inning, just kind of like I had to battle a little bit. After that, I was just like, God, come on, man.
Just give me that one.
Just give me one to make it a little easier. But no.
So that leads you into a 1-1 count, and you make that pitch, which honestly, like, also welcome to the big leagues. Like, that was a good pitch. He somehow stays back on that and shoots it the other way. What are you thinking after you see a swing like that? Because again, you double up on the breaking ball. It's a strike at the end of the day. That's a strike.
Yeah.
Like, what's your feedback on that swing from Ryan McMahon?
I think the feedback on it could definitely be he's probably sitting soft. Just because he was able to sit back on that. Then again, it is a 74-mile-an-hour curveball, so he could have just sawed out the hand. So I feel like you can't take too much into it, especially because he really, since it's such a slow pitch, it's like 74 at that point. It's like, okay, he could have just reacted to it.
So you could go to anything here now, though. Kind of opens up, I think, kind of anything you want to go to, and you go to that. I want to go back to that, because you go from 74 down to 96 at the top. We talked about big league takes. Like, that's an annoying take right there.
Yeah.
That was a perfect pitch. Is that pretty much exactly what you wanted to do with that pitch?
Honestly, I think I was trying to go away with it, and I yanked the hell out of it.
Oh, yeah.
Wow,
set up away there. But that's a good miss. Like, who's getting on top of that?
Yeah, it's going to be hard to get on top of. I think that pitch right there, I can't remember if I throw another fastball after this, but I think that sets up the strikeout pitch.
I think it does. We clock in now for the 2-2. Same spot.
Same spot.
And he's late as hell on that. So
yeah.
What are you thinking now? You double up on that fastball, same spot. You've gone curveball, fastball.
Yeah.
And you get a late swing there.
I think it just comes to a point where he's already seen 2 fastballs. Like, he could be ready for this one. So, you could go a lot of ways, but I like the way that Gallagher called this. He goes, heater away again. So you're like, okay, he's kind of on it a little bit. And then you go.
So the way that, and this is where people don't realize how hard hitting is, because you set that up with 97 pretty much right at the top outer third of the zone, right?
Yeah.
And then off of that, you snap off a changeup that, like, was your goal was to make the changeup look exactly like that 97-mile-an-hour fastball, right?
Yeah, pretty much when he called the changeup. I mean, I'm always trying to get it to the outer third and down. So, I mean, that's just kind of that fastball just happened to help out with the changeup.
So that was a battle. You win that. We're talking about settling into the second inning. Did you feel something there? Like, okay, I'm going to start rolling now after executing a few different pitches.
Yeah, because I mean, I punched out a decent amount of people in AAA, and then my first inning I didn't punch out any, and I was like, oh, come on, like I want to punch out some guys. So then I think that one kind of helped me out a little bit.
So now you miss up with the fastball. That's just so. I've also noticed this too. We talked about the induced vertical break, and you've got that on your glove, which I don't know if a lot of people. What is it exactly? I already forgot. What exactly is on your glove again?
It's Stay Verdi.
Stay Verdi, which is literally have your fastball ride. But I've noticed some of your fastballs have some more arm side run. Is that intentional, or is that sometimes just getting over the top of it a little bit?
No, I think that's just getting over the top of it. I mean, sometimes it'll cut, sometimes it'll run a little bit.
Because that one runs a little bit perfectly, almost like nibbles the outside corner. That pitch is like a good miss. Would you say?
Mistake. Yeah, a good mistake.
Yeah. I mean, that fastball running back over is crazy. So that sets it up a 1-1. Here's the good mistake that puts you at 1-2.
Yeah.
And now you kind of got anything at your disposal here.
Yeah.
This is where you want to be.
Especially, yeah.
You can tell you don't like that one.
Yeah, no. But I think the fact that he hadn't seen a slider well executed yet was a good thing.
Dude, like, so that was that slider again. That sometimes I feel like it's more that downward bite, and then sometimes it's got a little bit more of that horizontal movement.
Yeah,
that one is just drops right off the table. Yeah, I mean that pitch is crazy. So we keep rolling. This is now the third batter of the inning. So mind you, struck out 2 in a row here, and now you got Doyle. I mean, Brenton Doyle up.
Yeah,
1-1 count. Dude, like that pitch is crazy. That's your most confident pitch.
I think when that thing's working and it's more of a, if I'm throwing that thing to a spot I want to, and that's when it's probably my most confident pitch. That or my changeup. I mean, obviously my fastball I think is a pretty default answer, but it's like secondary wise, yeah.
Like, do you have anything to add to this 3-pitch sequence? Like, I'm just gonna play it through again.
I mean, honestly, like this last one is like the same thing. Like it was a good mistake. Like he probably thought Heater was coming after a slider and kind of just decent mistake.
Also, family. Who we got?
Let's see. I know who's there. It's parents, some friends, agent, strength coach in the off season.
How awesome was that? It was like a midday game, right? So it probably wasn't the biggest crowd in the world. Like, were you able to hear your fan section over there?
No, I couldn't. I couldn't hear anything.
Because you couldn't hear them, or because you were just fully tuning them out? Like
I was just like, I really could not hear the crowd at all, to be honest.
I don't want it to switch over. Hold on. So we got now into the third. So and you struck out 5 in a row, which has never been done by a Guardians pitcher in the live ball era. A Guardians rookie pitcher, I believe, in the live ball era, right? That's the stat that Peter threw out on the podcast. I didn't know that one.
It was either that or it might have been in their debut.
In their debut, whatever it was, crazy. First pitch fastball, fouls it off. That, like, when people talk about tunneling, would you say that that's an example of that? Like fastball riding at the top, and now he's thinking about that?
Yeah, I would say so. I think he's probably thinking I'm trying to get on top of the fastball.
Oh,
because like a lot of hitters are thinking I need to get to the fastball.
So now you got everything at your disposal. 0-2. I always thought waste pitch is the dumbest phrase out there because there's no such thing. You're not
Yeah.
wasting pitches ever. But you have the whole count at your disposal. What are you like? Are you not wanting to put something in the zone here? Are you saying, hey, I got a bad swing from him there and a late swing on, like, I want to go right after him? Like, what's your thought here as you're way ahead 0-2?
I mean, it kind of depends. If I'm throwing a breaking ball, I want to throw something that looks like a strike for about 90% of the way there, and the last 10% makes it a ball, like just outside the zone.
Instead, you dot the corner.
Yeah, sometimes it works out like that. Like
sometimes you dot the corner.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get it into like that area of like bottom, like literally where I threw it. It's either I either want it to be there or I want it to be like just off.
Where
so
it takes an insane swing to be able to get it.
Yeah, so it's like, and if he hits it, it's weak contact. Like.
So you're cruising now. You have 4 in a row. Now are you like, okay, I'm in this thing. Like I can do this.
I felt pretty locked in at this point.
So you get the 9-hitter, and you start him with the slider.
Yeah, just because it was working.
When it's working, you'll just go to it.
Sometimes, yeah.
That was the curve that backed up on you. That was technically a strike. You're never going to get that in the big leagues, though, right?
No, never. I mean, there was an interesting. I was pretty much whoever Gallagher was throwing down. I was just like, okay, let's throw it. Which sometimes it kind of helps me out just because it's less thinking and it's kind of just like
letting the rhythm.
Yeah, be simple, stupid sometimes.
I love like how you just know like right away, like the body language. It's like I tugged that. You almost like recalibrate.
Yeah.
So what like do you have a cue there, or are you just like you know what you did immediately and you can lock back in?
I think it just depends. Like if I like continually do like have the same miss over and over, like that's when I'll try to like do a quick like calibration, like you said.
But
like,
one miss it's fine.
One miss, it's like, okay, there's a ton of stuff that could have happened. But like if I'm missing like the entire time the same spot, it's like, okay, I need to like do a self-evaluation. Like what's going on here?
So you tug that, but then you get right back in and do that. Like that's just a joke. Like, and that's exactly what you were talking about before, is that pitch that starts as a strike and then just jumps right out of the zone. And then this is what I was talking about before we recorded about just like a good pitch, better swing from an all-star that has been doing this thing for half as long as we've been alive.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, this is one where you don't feel like you hung that at all, right? Like that's a pretty good spot for a first pitch curveball, right? That's just tip of the cap.
That's just tip of the cap. I mean, outer third, bottom of the zone. I mean, bless me. But he thank you. He just stayed on it. That's just one where it's just like, damn, good for you. Okay.
Yeah. So we walk back in here, 3rd inning, 2 outs. You backdoor that slider. Was that what you were trying to do there? Yeah, you were.
Yeah.
Dude, if you're backdooring like that, like, so this guy's got to worry about a backdoor slider, a fastball with 20 inches of vert, and a changeup, and a curveball. There's the fastball. I mean, that's a great miss.
Yeah. Yeah, then I wanted to go slider right there, kind of run it in more instead of backdooring it, just because I already.
There's like no way to keep that fair, right? That's that's how you feel about it.
I think if he sees it, then yes, it's a dangerous pitch because they're thinking heater. So, but if they see the slider out of the hand, like the low and end's kind of like danger zone a little bit sometimes on some guys. So if he sees it, maybe, but sometimes you just gotta throw it.
This was my favorite sequence, though, I think, because you go with that slider in, hard and in. It was a harder slider, too.
Yeah.
At like 84. 85. And then the way that sets up the changeup here. Like, and you hadn't thrown many to that point. Like, when you put down changeup, were you like, did you consider shaking that off? Or you're like, the way I'm feeling right now, I can go to anything?
No, yeah. I think before the game, I think I told myself, I was like, whatever he puts down, just throw it. Like, he has more, like Gallagher has more major league time than you. I've heard he's a really smart like, this is the first time I threw to Gallagher too. So I was like, he's got more big league service time. He's known as a defensive catcher. and he's gonna help me through this game.
I love that. I love that. Well, here's a different catcher now. I just have two clips from your
Yeah.
lights out. I call this your statement start, because I felt like that's exactly what this was for you. Just where everyone knew how good you were. You were on, you've been on our top 100 list for a long time, but you were pretty much on every top 100 list going into this year. But I still feel like this was like hey, I'm not just a top prospect. I'm a guy that can contribute to a good big league team now. And I think that was this start. What did you feel going into this one? Because the velo was up, up, up. You were spinning 21 inches. I think you had a couple fastballs in this one that were 22 inches of induced vertical break. So you were following the message on your glove here. Did you just feel a little extra fresh to that day? Did you just feel a little extra free?
It was the first warm day that we had.
Oh, wow.
So
There you
I think that definitely didn't hurt. I think this was, what was it? This is my second start. Yeah. So I mean, like, I just wanted to prove that I could belong. Kind of fired up. I mean, you face some there's some big leaguers on there, Faro, Duran. So I was just kind of one of those things where it was like, you just gotta keep pushing on the gas pedal.
So let's go through it. So, I mean, you have a nice, comfortable lead, which is always nice.
Yeah.
So, you're just kind of battling against the guy in the box and nothing else really to worry about there in terms of winning a ball game. I love that there. I mean, to go to the 1-0 change again, the way you have confidence in your stuff is what really stood out to me. And like when I was writing up, your profile, it was like, that's the thing that like you just don't see from a lot of guys that don't have years of big league service time to have that confidence to go to any pitch and any count. Would you say that was largely because of how you had to kind of pitch to get outs when you were 88 to 90? And then like that allowed you to have that pitch ability, and now you're just a guy with crazy stuff who has pitch abilities. Like it's that progression.
Yeah, I think the pitchability thing has come from like my dad always telling me being able to like pitch before you can be able to throw hard, because then you're gonna have both.
Yeah. That was spot on.
Yeah, I think that, and obviously in college when I was not throwing super hard, finding out ways to get outs while not having to blow like 96 into the zone.
Yeah, totally. So let's fly through this, because you throw that change up. That looked like a change up that got away a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you have that comeback. This camera angle's nuts. Also, this was the funniest. This is the most body language I'll ever see from you. You wanted that one. Apparently up, I guess.
Yeah.
And then you go, was that the fastball? Yeah, fastball, 96.
Yeah.
But that had that arm side
kind of
run.
ran. Yeah, it was kind of weird. It usually doesn't run, but
now you go 3-2. Oh God. Like there's no, I don't think there's a hitter on this planet that one pulls the trigger at that and two hits that. I mean, is that what you wanted to do? Or like,
I just wanted to throw a slider in the zone, to be honest. And like I was just like, I just want to throw this for a strike. Like we're up by 15 in the fourth inning. Like I'm just gonna throw this for a strike, and we're gonna see what he can do with it.
I'm almost surprised you didn't go fastball there. Yeah, why the slider if you just want to throw a strike? You're that confident in it.
I just think it's this guy. I think it's Hamilton.
Yeah, I think
David. Yeah. And he was like scorching hot. He was hitting like 430 on the year so far, like 2 weeks in. So it's like, if we give him a heater, like he could do some damage with it. Like, yeah, we're up by 15, but I'm not trying to like give out free runs. So if I walk him, we'll still have one out, still double play. So
here's Alfaro, who, I mean, 97 up there that just jumped. That one was a 20-inch induced, I think. That's a sick take.
Yeah, that was a really good take.
It's funny because, like, would you say the pitch before that was better than that pitch?
I mean, yeah, you're always trying to throw a slider, at least for me, glove side. And like sometimes like if you like have a mistake, they might just take it because they think it's a heater and they think it's gonna be a fastball in. and sometimes they hit it like 500 feet. It kind of
Yeah, like that's a near perfect pitch right there. This one backs up on. It seems like you do have a lot of effective backup sliders, though. Like, is that something that I've heard some hitters say that a backup slider is sometimes like the hardest pitch to hit? Like,
yeah, because you don't see like sometimes when I go like heater up, like bad slider, like it's like a backup slider, then it's like I can really do anything because he hasn't seen a good like sweepy slider
yeah.
like in a good spot, and I could throw him a fastball, and I could still try to get him.
So you give up that one base hit. I mean, that was just a good swing. He gets on top of a good fastball, shoots it the other way. I mean, that's a big league hitter. So now you got first and second. You lock back in. You're behind 1-0. I believe this is Valdez.
Yes. Yeah.
So now you're behind 2-0, first and second here. And again, like a lot of pitchers, they could start to lose it here. That's not the case for you. You lock back in. Dot the changeup. Like why? Like why change up there? Like that's what's so impressive. I'm saying why in like you're comfortable with any pitch, right? Like
I think so I think Valdez is definitely a good fastball hitter too.
yeah.
So I think then like 2-0, like I don't want to give in when I can throw like if the changeup's working and the changeup's I can throw for a strike, then why not throw it 2-0?
So he hasn't seen a fastball, I don't think, here since you even the count, and then that's where you elevate it. So if you can hide that fastball as long as you can, does that just give you more and more confidence when you finally do go to it? Because like that one took off. You talk about stay verti, that one stays verti right here.
Yeah, I mean if you can slow them down, and they're really sitting soft and you throw the heater. I mean sometimes if it's in a good spot, I mean it can really get them.
So let me put this. We got one last clip here. It is. Sorry, you're right. Bang. So we've got bottom four now. Believe this is Duran.
I think this is Hamilton again.
Is this Hamilton again?
I think so.
Did I go backwards? Oh, yeah, I did. I did go backwards. My apologies. Here we go.
Is this Duran?
That looks like Duran.
I think so.
That looks like that's actually going to just keep ascending if you didn't catch that. Like that literally does look like it's taking flight. What's the key to that? And that's a changeup that you miss up with, right?
Yeah.
Almost like a riding change there.
Yeah.
Does your changeup almost sometimes ride on you a little bit?
I think like I talked with like you and Peter about, if my torso starts coming backwards, I don't necessarily get super on top of it. And then it'll kind of get kind of back spinning, and sometimes it will ride, but I don't want that.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I kind of been working on this past week. So that just kind of rode on.
And what's the key to that ride on the fastball? Like, are you thinking just staying behind it, like low release point? Like, what's the key? Do you have a cue for that? Because that's obviously something you talked about. Used to be a dead zone guy, now you're the opposite. Like, how did that? What's the cue to kind of make sure you're still there?
I think for me, it's just the delivery as a whole. Like if my delivery is in a good place, like the ball will ride. So if I think like behind it or something like that, then it could like it's not like a necessarily like cue because I can think like I'm gonna get around this slider, but then it could still back up. So it's kind of just like an easier cue for me to make it easier on my head.
Yeah. I mean, that's start him off with the slider. You get that swing, you got to feel good now. You're like, all right, I'm in the driver's seat. That's when you know a fastball is jumping.
Yeah.
Dotted on the inside corner. With the 2-strike count, I mean, going inside's dangerous because you can miss middle, but that's a spot where a lot of hitters are kind of giving that up, right? They're kind of assuming that guys are going to be afraid to go in there. That's a spot where you're obviously when you've got the fastball working like that, you're not afraid to go in there.
No, just because if you can get it, like you don't need to have like get it on the block. Sometimes you just kind of aim inner third, and if you can get it in, you can get it up. I mean, it's effective.
This is the last batter right here. Just feel free to chime in on anything that stands out. You go change up fastball, 0-2 count. Baseball's hard. Like,
Yeah.
anything there in that 3-pitch sequence that
I want to say this is his second at bat. I think this is so guard. Um, I think his first at bat, I don't think I threw him a fastball. So I think this was the second fastball that he saw.
you can tell he's like calibrating right there. Like, what did I just see?
Yeah, and I think just like being able to not show, like, obviously as a starter you're going multiple times through the order, and almost like you don't have to show every pitch, every AB.
Yeah.
And I think this was kind of a product of it.
And that's what happens. We don't see the fastball very much. Oh, that has a lot more ride than I thought.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn awesome. So as we wrap up here, like, any final thoughts on kind of like, you talked about it a little bit on the Just Baseball show, but what you learned from that last outing, what you've learned from like being able to dominate in these outings, going into the next one. You talked about the cue with your torso. Is that really all you really got to think about as you go into your next start, is just kind of that small mechanical thing, and then you feel great?
I would say the only cue, like when I'm on the mound, the only cue I'm gonna be thinking of is keep my head quiet.
Yeah.
And like if I can, with that cue, which I've been doing the past couple of days, that if I can keep this quiet, the rest will follow, and everything else will be a little better.
Yeah, I love it, man. Well, dude, thank you so much for the time again. Again, those that are watching right now, full interview with Tanner on the Just Baseball show tomorrow. I think you're really going to enjoy it. It's an awesome journey from you, Tanner. It's so cool to follow along and see what you keep doing and keep succeeding. And again, I said it last time. Do you remember last time we tried to do this and we had some technical difficulties? I did say, I can't wait to break down your big league start with you. We did that. Now I'm going to say, I can't wait to break down, in the off season, a postseason start from you. Yeah. So that'll have to be next if you're up for it, man. Again, I love the hat. I really appreciate you rocking the JB hat. You know that we'll send you some more stuff when we get it in. I think we're about to do a new little merch switch up and get some new stuff in. But dude, again, I appreciate you so much. Best of luck the rest of the year. And you'll be hearing from me every single time you dice up 10Ks. I'm always got to let you know how awesome that was to watch. But man, it's been a blast watching you get going in the big leagues. And again, congratulations on all your success.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me on again.